After Denmark's loss in the Second Schleswig War in 1864, Jan Jensen and his younger brother Peter leave their war-torn homeland and journey across the Atlantic Ocean to America, hoping for a new beginning. For 7 long years, they worked tirelessly to build a fresh life in an unfamiliar land. Throughout this time, John deeply misses his wife, Marie, and their young son, Creston, who remained behind in Denmark. The long separation has carved a deep emptiness in John's heart. It is now 1871. John and Peter stand at a frontier train station in America, waiting eagerly. At last, John is about to reunite with his beloved family. Soon, he spots Marie and Creston stepping off the train, both smiling warmly. Little Creston rushes to greet his father, and the couple share a moment of true affection and relief. John proudly introduces them to Peter, and together they begin their journey home. Before parting, Peter tells John he has business to attend to in town and will stay behind for a short while.
Hello.
Ma'am, my wife doesn't speak the language. She will learn.
The moment is broken when the couple's seat is replaced by 2 rough, dangerous-looking men. One of them is Paul Delarue, brother of Henry Delarue, a notorious gang leader. Paul has just been released from prison, and his gaze is far from friendly. From this point on, events begin to spiral out of control. That evening, while Paul and his companion doze, a quiet moment occurs inside the stagecoach. John is teaching Creston about local wildlife and describing future hunting trips, but the calm is short-lived. Paul suddenly addresses Marie and offers her a drink. When she refuses, the conversation quickly turns tense. Since Marie does not speak English, John quietly instructs her in Danish to accept the drink out of courtesy. She complies, hoping to maintain peace.
You ain't got a hell of a lot to say, do you? My own princess, she don't talk at all. I suppose they got tired of hearing her scream after they killed her parents. What is your name?
He begins flirting with Marie in a manner that makes John deeply uneasy. Paul reaches for her dress, attempting to touch her. John sternly warns him to stop. The second man draws a gun on John, trying to silence him.
What are you gonna do about it? Come here! Can't do a goddamn thing. I'm still!
John, trying to protect his family, whispers in Danish to Marie, instructing her to bite Paul's ear. She obeys. In the ensuing confusion, John swiftly seizes the thug's gun. With the weapon in hand, John struggles to regain control. He urges his son to grab the other gangster's gun, but Paul exploits the chaos. He seizes Creston and presses a knife to the boy's neck. Paul commands John to leave the stagecoach or risk his family's lives. John attempts to speak to Marie, but one of the men forcefully ejects him. Eventually, he discovers Creston's lifeless body lying by the roadside. Heartbroken, John collapses, clutching his son and weeping. Slowly, he lifts the boy's body and walks onward. Further down the road, he finds the stagecoach halted. John gently places Creston's body down and approaches the dead coachman, taking his gun. Using his old soldier skills, he fires a shot to startle the horses, then carefully targets the gangsters. He swiftly kills one of them and pursues Paul, who tries to flee. Paul pleads for his life, insisting he harmed no one.
Wait! I didn't touch the boy!
The next morning, Peter arrives. He had noticed unusual horses nearby and came to investigate. He finds John weeping over the bodies of Marie and Creston. Peter tries to console his brother. John tells him he did not know the man who committed the crime. The two brothers embrace, both consumed by grief, with only each other left. The scene shifts to a dusty Wild West town. A group of armed men on horseback rides in, claiming the streets. They are led by Henry Delarue, a ruthless former Union Army colonel notorious for his brutal campaigns against Native Americans. He dismounts and approaches Mayor Nathan Keene, who also serves as the town's priest and undertaker. Delarue is furious, demanding answers about two dead men discovered nearby. Mayor Keene, visibly anxious, insists that no one in town was involved. What the mayor and townspeople do not yet know is that one of the dead men is Delarue's brother, Paul.
Make sure he doesn't stink of booze when the princess sees him. Take him there. Did you catch the killer?
Finally, Delarue speaks. He orders them to find the killer by noon, or he will kill two innocent townspeople as punishment. Quoting scripture, he vows revenge. To make his point, he warns that if the mayor does not name the victims, he will kill 4 instead of 2. Soon Mrs. Borowski, an elderly gun shop owner, and a legless man are chosen as his victims.
Father.
The whole town will always be grateful to you.
I'm not sure I can make it without you, Grandma.
Of course you can, my boy.
Delarue shoots the disabled man without hesitation. As Wojciech, Mrs. Borowski's grandson, cries beside her, she prays bravely for Delarue's wicked soul, but he kills her too, showing no mercy. Still unsatisfied, he slays a third innocent in front of his own wife, revealing no remorse. Sheriff Malik urges the townspeople to stay calm and not intervene. Everyone feels powerless against Delarue, who demands more protection money and raises the rates.
Me, you're gonna need more protection with the killer around. $160 due at the end of the month, every month. Are we in agreement?
Later, at Paul's burial, his widowed sister-in-law, Malene, who is mute, stands silently by the grave. Delarue offers cold and empty words of comfort. At the same time, John and Peter bury Marie and Creston, filled with sorrow and a growing thirst for revenge. The brothers decide to leave and head west. Known for their sharpshooting skills, they draw attention. Some townspeople suspect they were involved in Paul's death. When they reach Black Creek, someone alerts the sheriff.
Good day to you. Where's your grandmother?
Delarue shot her. And we could use people like you if we're ever gonna face that murder.
Don't get into a fight. You know you're gonna lose.
Meanwhile, John tries to sell his land to Mayor Keene. The mayor offers only half the original price, citing Delarue's new taxes and growing threats. John then realizes the man he killed was Paul Delarue. With no other choice, John agrees to sell at the low price. Keene advises him to hide the money in his boot for safety.
There's a lot of hungry people out there.
Around the same time, Delarue and Malene, also known as the Princess, meet with businessmen from the Standard Atlantic Oil Company. They give Delarue a bundle of money and warn him to temper his violent ways. They reveal that the federal government has cut off Black Creek, leaving Sheriff Malik without support. The company aims to buy all the land in the area for its oil-rich soil and wants Delarue to seize control by force. Soon after, Peter is arrested, but not before putting up a fight. Later, Sheriff Malik sits down with John for a serious conversation.
Malik, he broke a deputy marshal's jaw. Now I'm sorry for your loss, John.
I won't be the last man Delarue's gonna kill around here.
But your death's gonna buy us some time.
The sheriff urges John to turn himself in, explaining that his death might buy the town enough time for federal aid to arrive. At sunrise the next day, the air is dry and heavy with silence as the sheriff hands John over to Delarue's gang. Before they drag him away, Delarue's right-hand man delivers a harsh punch to John's face, adding insult to injury. John was then tied tightly to a rough wooden post outside Delarue's headquarters, left exposed under the blazing sun. When Delarue arrived with Malene, his late brother's mute widow, John wasted no time. With pain and fury in his voice, He told her that her so-called husband had killed his child and attacked his wife. But Delarue would not let him finish. He silenced John with a savage punch, making it clear he had no intention of listening.
We will soon find out what you're made of, soldier.
His plan was simple and cruel. Leave John tied up without food or water to slowly suffer and die under the blazing heat. As the day dragged on, the sun scorched overhead and vultures circled above. Just when it seemed things could not get worse, Mayor Keene arrived. At first it seemed he might help, but instead he stole John's boots and hidden money. Then, with a smirk and unsettling familiarity, he greeted Delarue by his first name, revealing their alliance. Meanwhile, back at the jailhouse, Sheriff Malik was away at church, and Peter's brother prepared to escape. Unlike John, Peter was more cunning. He carefully provoked the deputy guarding him, using sharp words to incite anger.
Got you pretty good, didn't I? Hope you have a woman that loves you. Of course, you ain't gonna find one with that face. But it's gonna cost you extra now. That's for sure.
Shut up!
Now you don't just sound like a sick mute.
When the moment was right, he knocked the man out and escaped. Back at Delarue's hideout, it became clear that Delarue felt no grief for Paul's death. In fact, he seemed to consider Paul's widow, Meline, as his possession. He forced her into bed despite the bruises on her face and the fear in her eyes. Her injuries spoke louder than words. This was not love. Delarue promised her a future as the Queen of New Orleans, but it was a future she did not want. Later that night, rain poured as John remained tied to the post, weak and drenched. But at last, help arrived. As they made their escape, they ran into two more gang members and Peter swiftly shot them down. Their flight did not go unnoticed. Delarue's men mounted horses and pursued them. John, weakened from exposure, could not hold on and fell from his horse. Thinking quickly, Peter hid John behind a large rock, claiming the gang would not stop the chase anyway. Brave as he was, he used himself as bait to lure the men away. When John awoke the next morning, he was dehydrated and desperate. He stumbled to a puddle and drank the filthy water greedily. But his relief turned to horror when he saw one of Delarue's men dragging Peter's lifeless body behind a horse. Back at Delarue's base, the safe was empty and Meline had disappeared. She had taken the oil money and made her way to the train station. Standing by the train with a heavy bag of cash, she looked around anxiously, hoping to leave it all behind. Delarue slapped her hard, but she did not stay silent. She spat the blood back into his face. Though Delarue wanted to kill her on the spot, his right-hand man suggested she might still be useful. Her life was spared for now. Meanwhile, John wandered through the dry land near Black Creek until he came upon Mrs. Whistler, a tough, armed landowner. She fired warning shots as he approached her well. John, desperate and parched, ignored the gunfire and pressed on. But the well held thick black crude oil, not water. Once she recognized John, she lowered her gun and invited him in, offering food and clean water. Mrs. Whistler had also lost someone to Delarue's violence, her husband. That night, John went to Mayor Keene's home, gun in hand. He forced the trembling mayor to return his boots and stolen money. As John interrogated him, he discovered the mayor had also purchased Mrs. Whistler's land. When John pressed harder, Keene tried to lie, but John commanded him to step into an open coffin, terrifying him.
Hold him, Henry.
I'm an undertaker.
Get him.
Oh, I'm a businessman.
You're not even...
Finally, Keene confessed that he had handed over land deeds to Delarue, aiding him in taking control of the town. Afterwards, John visited Mrs. Whistler's old store, now run by her grandson, Voight. John gathered supplies, including ammunition and flammable liquids. He urged Voight to notify Sheriff Malik about the corrupt partnership between Delarue and Keene.
Delarue believes it will soon be worth thousands.
Let me come.
You're just a kid.
I've been practicing my shooting. I'm not a bad shot.
The following morning, John set his plan in motion. He placed Mayor Keene's body inside a coffin as a decoy. Delarue opened it, shocked, and ordered his men to burn it. At the same time, Voight started a bonfire to draw attention. Then, hidden behind cover, he began shooting. Voight, proving his bravery, climbed to a rooftop with more flammable supplies, but the creaking wood alerted a thug below. The man found Malene bound upstairs. Voight fired a shot but missed, and the thug downstairs retaliated, killing the boy. As the killer gloated, he lit a cigarette, unaware that spilled fuel had soaked the floor. Amid the commotion, John rushed toward the flames. He saw the thug dragging Malene out and, with precise aim, shot him in the leg, sending him tumbling. However, as John stepped into the open, he made a critical mistake he shouldn't have. He had forgotten about Delarue. The gang leader shot John, knocking him to the ground. Standing over him, Delarue mocked John for being stronger than expected, but before he could finish the job, Malene appeared. After the gunfire, John and Malene pointed their weapons at each other. For a tense moment, they stood frozen. Then, silently, they lowered their guns. Both had lost so much and now shared a common enemy. Just then, Sheriff Malik arrived with backup. He thanked John for saving the town but tensed when he saw Malene. John stood firm, declaring she was under his protection. With no choice, Malik backed down. As peace settled in, the silent man and the quiet woman, John and Malene, mounted their horses and rode off together, beginning a new chapter in their lives, bound by loss, justice, and survival.